prevent me from continuing my relationship with her, even though I'm a heterosexual male.
What if you were to find out that she's really just a computer character?
I would be very surprised.
Sure, you'd be surprised, but what's the Indiana film I asked in the physics class about this? Not Indiana film, the Los Angeles film about
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. He finds out that this woman who he really likes is a actual robot, right? Just like your robot.
Okay.
Maybe.
What then?
Would you act any differently? He didn't, right? He went ahead and treated her like a real person and became an outlaw because of it.
I would definitely act differently. I think even if he was a real person, he would act differently. Would it be necessary? Would I break up with my girlfriend? I don't know. I'm not in this situation, and I don't have good enough.
So you don't really know whether your girlfriend, you're dating a robot or not.
I don't know.
Maybe you meet chauvinists about relationships.
I don't know.
See, I can think of a bad argument to attack your position with, which is, goes like this. Gee, that's an old-fashioned view of knowledge.
That was an old
I
fashioned.
used to think that way back in 1910 or something.
What's different now? They still believe that knowledge is true, right?
There are some people who say, I'm not sure I understand this notion of truth we're talking about here. No problem. But yes, if there's such a thing as knowledge, it better be true or it's not knowledge. And you talk to post-modern kind of thinkers, they're not sure there's any knowledge, any truth, everything is just a version, just a story, that's a coherent way of talking. You get that in English classes sometimes. Okay, I cannot refute this particular epistemological theory here, but other points to talk about in the nature of infinity? Are we all done? Or?
I'm sort of like, I apologize for starting the falsification thing, but
It's fine, it's interesting, it's philosophical.
What I was originally thinking here, I've thought about it since, and I think I have words for it now. Just to confirm, by a moment you mean the smallest point, a small point, a point in time.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what I'm kind of thinking there is that it's only infinite because there are infinitely many ways that we can measure it, not necessarily because it itself is infinite. I think that's what I was trying to do.
I don't think you can measure it even once. I don't know about infinitely many ways to measure it. I mean, anything that small, all I can tell is it's shorter than the limits of my ability to measure that short amount of time.
I just can't help but think that we're defining a point in time as a unit of measurement rather than a physical object.
As a physical object. It's a very unusual physical object. I mean, it's not an abstract object. An abstract object is something that's independent of space and time. Now, space itself, well, it's not independent of space and time. So, spatial objects and temporal objects are weird. I mean, they're not made out of matter or energy. Well, it depends on your views. There's actually... But usually we think of them as, well, they're not physical objects. So they're in their own little category. I call them physical objects because they're not abstract.
Okay.
So they're non-abstract objects. By abstract, I mean outside of space and time. And these are unusual ones, and moments and positions Point locations of time, point locations of space.
Okay, so this might be kind of a dumb question, then, but then what makes mathematical infinities not physical, like not in the same category as space and time as physical objects? Like what makes them abstract rather than that?
Well, if mathematical infinities, if you're talking about like the set of real numbers as a mathematically infinite object, a lot of people think these are not spatial temporal objects at all. They think there's this Platonic realm where these things hang out,
Okay.
or these
So-
abstract structures.
Okay, so then spatial temporal objects are physical, they belong to their own category of physical
Yeah,
objects.
they're down to earth, so to speak. They're not up there with the Platonic objects.
Okay. So
It's very controversial whether this Platonic realm exists, because you have to deal with the epistemological question of how do you access it? How do you know what's up there in this Platonic realm? Because abstract objects can't really push on physical objects and show them. You can't like causally detect them in any kind of direct manner.
Mhm.
Just like you can't even causally detect moments.
Right. So that, and now I'm just kind of wondering what makes them physical and not abstract. You can't measure them. They're not made of energy and mass.
Well, our theory says they're not outside of space and time. They're just parts of space and time. So they don't exist up there with God and 17 and other things like that.
Yeah, but wouldn't.
They're just the tiniest parts.
Well, I understand that that spatial temporal objects are but I'm still not seeing what makes a spatial temporal object not abstract, like space and time not abstract, I guess.
Oh, space and time itself?
Yeah.
Well, what's an abstract object then? So,
Yeah, that's the trap I'm falling into now. I think that.
yeah, if you define an abstract object as something outside of space and time, that makes space and time not abstract.
I was sort of.
So you need another definition.
As something that's not physical, but physical being.
Not material,
Mass,
okay.
energy.
Then that would make space and time an abstract object if everything is either physical or abstract.
Right.
But so, see, we might just have a categorization problem of how do you want to categorize these things, or how do you want to define the notion of.
Yeah, that's going to be out now.
See, one of the problems is that we've learned from the theory of relativity is that matter can act on space and time and affect its properties. If matter gets very, very dense, it can curve space and time. I mean, this is what the theory of relativity tells us. So that would be a reason for not trying to coming up with a definition which makes space and time abstract,
Okay.
since they have such an intimate connection to each other.
Okay. All right. I can be okay with that.
Okay? Are we all done for the day?
I think
Thank
so.
you for inviting me.
Thanks for being on here.
Okay. Thanks for running all those trips around campus to make this thing work.
Is that your desktop?
Not usually. It's something